Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Warhammer 40,000 with Zebu Nation. And today we have something completely different. We have something very new, which is a completed project. How about that? I know a lot of people struggle with completing projects, and I'm no exception. But here we have one project that I have actually completed. Now it's just one squad of Intercessors for my Black Templar army, and it comes from the Dark Imperium box set, which is far from complete. I still have, there's two whole armies in that box, so it's not an easy project to complete. But I'm going to choose this as sort of a milestone to say I have them completely painted, completely ready to go. They're ready to put on the table, and that's something to celebrate. So as I mentioned, it is one squad of Intercessors, but I also have a lieutenant here as well. We can take a look at him, get a little bit of a better look at this lieutenant. As you can see, he's been primed, he's been painted, and he's been finished as well with a sealer. We'll talk about that stuff later, but as you can see, he's got a lot of different details, a lot of some stickers on the side. We'll talk about that, and even a little brass Templar emblem on the shoulder pad. And that's how I've done all of these guys. They all have the brass emblem. They all have the stickers from the Dark Imperium box set. Take a look at those. I guess we can take a look at those right now. So here is the brass emblems that I bought off of eBay. I believe these are Forge World. They say Games Workshop on them. But I bought them off of eBay. This one was, I think, $6 plus $4 shipping, so $10 for this. And basically, it'll just save me the headache and the hassle of trying to paint Templar iconography on these guys, because I'm not a good painter. I've just started. I've only been painting for about 6 months. And even that's a little deceiving. When I say I've been painting for 6 months, it's like I started painting 6 months ago, made a little progress, stopped for a few months, painted again, made a little bit more progress, stopped again, and then just recently started painting again this month. So it's not like it's been 6 months of continuous painting and continuous learning. It's just been, when I have time, when the notion strikes me to start painting, I've been, doing the best I can, and I think I've done okay. I think these models are maybe, they're definitely better than just gray plastic. They're not perfect or anything like that. I made plenty of mistakes, but I think they're pretty good. I think they're maybe average or maybe even above average, depending on, how low of a scale you grade. But anyway, back to these brass fittings. They're very good for all different sizes of models. They're good for 10 Templars, basically. They've got some officer sigils in here. They got some sigils that would be good for dreadnoughts, for vehicles. So you can basically put a whole army's worth of sigils on your models, and it just saves you time. It saves you effort. You just have to glue them on and master that particular skill of gluing objects onto your models. And speaking of that, we also have these stickers. These came with the Dark Imperium box set. Unfortunately, they don't have stickers for Templars. They have them for Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and Space Wolves. And I've chosen to use the iconography from the Dark Angels. That just seems to fit the best. It was also the best color scheme for these models. And I haven't used their exact iconography. Like, I haven't used their wings. I haven't used the Blood Angels wings. I just used some more of their generic squad markings. And the squad markings are a little strange. So here they are on the side of the model right here. And they're supposed to be two arrows, an arrow pointing in each direction. But for some reason, when I applied my resin sealer to the models, it sort of ate into the sticker. So it sort of looks like battle damage, I guess. I was hoping my Templars would look very clean, very new, because they are Primaris. I wanted them to have that sort of new model feel to them, but they've got a little bit of wear and tear on them now, I guess. you know, it's just something I'm going to have to live with. I'm not going to repaint it. I'm not going to put new stickers on there. I'm just going to have to, you know, live with it, as I said. So the painting has gone well. And, you know, what I used, I've shown you in the past a lot of the things that I've used. To base coat them, I use this here, Testers Chalkboard Pizzeria. I really like this. It has an interesting tactile feel to it when you spray it on there, and it gives your model a different feel. But then when you spray it over with the resin coating, it really shines and it really pops, and it's very interesting, you know. And it was on sale, as you can see here. Hobby Lobby, $1.49. You can't pass that up. You can't beat that with a stick. So yeah, it was sort of price and convenience and just the right kind of spray. So that worked out very well. And if you don't like Hobby Lobby, I know a lot of people don't particularly like to go to Hobby Lobby. You can get Testers spray all over the place. You know, you can find it online for sure. And then this is an interesting thing. This is the resin spray that I use. It is Castin Craft resin spray. And I actually bought this for a different purpose. I bought this when I was doing some resin casting of models, not 40K models, just models for a board game prototype that I was making. And so this is what you use to like spray the resin models that you cast to make sure that there's no bubbling or cracking or things like that on the surface of your resin models. So I just used this on a test model for the Black Templars, and it came out great. You know, the shine that it produced, the sort of glossy armory look. I guess we can go back to the lieutenant and take a look at the lieutenant. Just the gloss like on his backpack and on his armor. You can look on the back of his legs maybe. You can see back here just sort of the glossy shine. It really makes it pop. And you know, I'm not great at edge highlighting, and I think this really, you know, makes the edge highlighting that I did do pop all that much. So that's outstanding. And then after I applied the base coat, basically it's, you know, just white for the shoulder pads, and then my secret to painting over anything black is gunmetal gray from Army Painter War Paints. I love this model, or I love this paint. The gunmetal, it's probably equivalent to like Lead Belcher for Games Workshop paints, and it just goes over black so great, makes everything look very metallic but not too shiny. That's why it's gunmetal and not like, you know, a shining silver or something like that. And I put that on the guns. You can see that, you know, the shiny silvery parts on the gun there is all gunmetal. I use that for the highlights to make the edges of the armor pop a little bit. You can see some on the top of his helmet to make that sort of just black square look a little more metallic and shiny. I used it on their face paint, you know, for the bottom of their face masks and their belt buckles and grenades, and you know, just anything that needed to look metallic. Just slap some gunmetal gray on there and it looks pretty good. And then of course for the gold we used Greedy Gold from Army Painter, and that just made the Aquila pop out. Again, you've seen this guy before, the Aquila there on his front chest, just made that pop in gold. And it's not like a super shiny gold. Even though it says Greedy Gold, it is just, you know, a nice warm gold color. So that's outstanding. And here's my palette. You know, I just use a basic palette. It's like $2. I don't use a wet palette. Instead, I use a jar of water here. Just put a little water on the palette and you're good to go. I got some close-up shots of a sergeant that I did here. And this sort of brings me to the mistakes I made. I made several mistakes while building these models and painting the models. You know, you can see some of the models have a little bit of paint flecks here and there. This guy's got a little red spot on his forehead. I just couldn't be bothered to paint that over while I was trying to paint his little tiny eye sockets red. I got a little dab of paint on his forehead, and so now he's, you know, he's Mr. Red. He's Red Dot. I don't know. Maybe that will spur him on to victory. But this sergeant over here, when I was first building them, I couldn't tell who was who. I didn't know what was what. in terms of the weapons, in terms of the soldiers. I'd never played with Primaris Marines before, so I was kind of unsure. And what I did is I built this lieutenant that we've looked at. I built him on a small base. The regular 28 millimeter base, I think, is what the size is. And instead, I built this sergeant over here. I built him on the larger, like 32 millimeter base. I think that's what it is, or maybe it's the 40 millimeter. I don't know the sizes, but it's the larger, it's the officer-sized base. You can see the difference here in the bases. They're just, one's larger. And, this guy looked like he needed a larger base to me. He's got like a big wide stance. He's got a big, braggadocious pose here. He's like pointing. He looked like an officer to me. He's not wearing a helmet. Officers are famous for not wearing helmets. He's got the little jewel skull on his helmet right there. So it's like, officers usually have that to just show you that they're an officer in the Templars. So I thought he was the lieutenant, and I thought this guy was the sergeant. So I built them backwards. And I don't know what to do about it other than to just roll with it. Just go with the flow, I suppose. I don't know if I should make that sergeant a lieutenant now because he's on the lieutenant base. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I've actually thought about using this guy, this lieutenant here. I've thought about using him for kill team because he's a little bit of a different model. He's got a different gun that maybe I'm not going to use. You're not going to want to use in combat. In a big army. He's got the assault bolter, but the assault bolter would actually be pretty good for kill team. So I might make him a kill team model. I don't know. I've got a ton of lieutenants. I've got lieutenants coming out of my ears, so it's not like this guy is invaluable or anything like that. Yeah, so really just a quick painting video to show you what I've been up to, what I've accomplished, and I want to give some credit to a little movement that's going on out there. It's been going on for a few years now called Painthammer. It's, like I said, it's a little movement that was it's being spearheaded on Twitter by a painter named Jewel Knight Jess. And Jess has the hashtag out there, hashtag painthammer2019. It's a website, and it has some, some products you can buy to support her, to support the idea of Painthammer, to help other creators, get involved and to keep this sort of movement going year after year. And I actually did my part. I bought this little Painthammer journal here, Painthammer 2019 journal, to help me keep track of the models. As you can see, open it up here. I've got my Painthammer 2019. I got my Templar Intercessors on there, finished 11819, and my Templar Lieutenant is on there as well. So as I finish, as I go through things, hopefully we're going to be listing a bunch of things on here because you've seen a lot of the things that I have to do. I've got most of the Kill Team starter set. I still need to do all of those Kill Team starter sets, honestly. I still need to build them, well, except for the Drop Force Imperator. I've done that one. But other than that, I've got all of those. I've got all of the Dark Imperium box set, the Tooth and Claw box set, the new Primaris Marines that I've just bought for my Ultramarines army, Calgar, all of that stuff. Hopefully all of that stuff will make it into this journal at some point during 2019. So there you go. There's my painting update. Next up on the docket, we have the Captain in Gravis armor and my other lieutenant. As you can see here, they're mostly painted. They're, at least halfway painted. He's got his sword and his Aquila painted up. Still have a few more details to do. I still have his shoulder pads to finish up and things like that. Same for the Captain in Gravis armor, but most of my Black Templar models are like this. They're base coated and ready to paint, so I just need to actually go out and do it. So if you can use this as some sort of motivation to just start painting, go ahead and do it. It's not as difficult as you think. It's just a matter of, putting your mind to it and deciding that you like it and deciding that it's something you want to do with your time. It's part of the hobby. You should probably embrace it, and that's what I'm trying to learn to do, is embrace the painting side of the hobby. So there you go. Painthammer 2019 update for January in the books. Hopefully I can do one of these a month and have some progress to show you guys. So there you go. That's it for today. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.